let's start with lines. So now a usual, let's say, so if we imagine this is our wall, because our door basically is, you know, a part of the wall segments. So let's imagine if our wall is 1,500 long, so 1 meter, 1.5 meters long. It's going to be a lot bigger than your other shapes, just as a reminder. Sorry, but don't be scared. That's my first line here. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this by a distance off. So think about a traditional wall. I would say in this case, let's say the wall is 150. Okay, so the thickness of the wall is 150 millimeters. So simply type 150, enter, and then select your offsetted line and leave that as it is. Okay, so exit from my command, and then I should be left with 2 parallel lines. Each one of them runs 1.5 meters, which is 1500 millimeters. The offsetted distance, which means the wall thickness, should be 150, 150 millimeters. Okay. All right. Now, once we're done, we can easily draw 2 lines. So let's just draw 1 line sort of towards the left, regardless of its length. As long as it goes through the 2 lines, I'm happy with it. And just click enter, because I'm going to use that line as sort of like a trimming line. I'll trim off the middle, which is the location where the wall sits. Okay, so for a standard door, I would say a standard door should be somewhere around 170 ish. So let's just say, sorry, 750 ish. So let's just say that's 750 wide. So I'm going to say my offsetted distance is that, enter, and then I'm going to go that way, right? So 750 offsetted distance for my cutoff line. Now, perfect, right? Exit from my command. I should be left with this grid here. So the 2 walls and segments that defines the boundary of my door. So my door frame, basically. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that this part is gone, because you want to open your door space. All right. So we're going to say let's trim. And I don't want the centerpiece. I don't want the top and the bottom here, and then exit. Now, if you accidentally got rid of that entire line, it's okay. If you just come back and then close that, and then you should be left with this here. Okay. All right, perfect. Now, so a very sensible thing to do is that see how each segment of the line is on itself. So they're just line segments now. So a very sensible thing to do right now is by getting them together into polylines, which means you want them to be continuous. So I'm going to say select everything and then just type JOIN, so join. I'm going to join all of them, and then they should be now closed polylines. So 2 of them. So one is that, another one is that. Okay. All right. Now, if you followed the entire shape exercise previously, just 5 minutes ago, I think doors and windows will be so easy for you. Now, if we come back to this, can we please start with the polyline? And now what we're going to do is we're going to draw out the little small gray shaded rectangles on the side, which represents your door hinge and the frame. So we're going to start with that corner there. You see on the diagram is telling me that each of this little square is 4 by 10 centimeter, but our units are in millimeter, so it would be 40 by 100, right? So I wanted to go that way by 40, enter. You don't have to exit anything because it's polyline. So I wanted to go up by 100, enter, and then I wanted to go back that way by 40 again, enter, and exit from the command. Okay, so now I should have this thing here, which is ready to, move to the right hand side. Perfect. So once you get to here, the easiest, most sensible thing to do would be obviously to mirror this by the base point, and then you want it to go straight up. Do you want to erase your source object? I don't want to because I want to keep it. And then now you're left with this shape. So the next step would be to move this MOVE, and then move from the right hand side to the corner there. Okay. All right. So once you have something that looks like this, could you please thumbs up so we can move to the next step, guys? We'll do this again as well, just if anyone's, falling behind. Okay, perfect. All right, we'll move to the next step slowly. The next step is ridiculously simple. Now, can we see that on the diagram, it's got a bit of a distance from here to the center of my door swing, right? But just for the ease of this exercise, I'm going to treat this point as my door swing sort of center. For any doors, really, I guess it's sort of the most common way to do this is basically going into the circle option and type onto the radius center option. Just click onto that. And it's asking me to specify the center point, which is my tip on the door frame here. And I want the radius to reach the other end of my door frame. Yeah, so that's the end point. And then once I get to the end point, enter or click left click. Okay, click it once. All right. Now, for me to trim off this door swing, I'm going to have to use a line as a helping tool. I want my line to go straight up and then exit. And now I can trim it off and leave just that segment of the door, and then I'm done. Okay. Now, one thing to be really careful is when you're trimming a circle, always make sure that you've got the two boundary lines selected when you're trying to trim it. For example, if I do this and that, and then seems okay, if I just say trim, it basically will not trim off anything because I do not have two intersections. So make sure, see that's the intersection points. So make sure you select the entire shape and then trim. And then you want to trim off the other side and being left with the right hand side of the circle swing and trim off the top and then exit. And now you should have your perfect door that you're doing. Okay. All right. So that was pretty simple. Now, if you want to, you can join this by, JOIN, you can join the swing part. And it should be pretty easy for you to do. Okay, now, can we just very quickly, you can also see how we use this as our door sort of circle center, but see how on the diagram, it has got a small distance, which is by 40 again, and it goes, the center starts from here. Okay, so you can also do that and then trim off again, just getting rid of all of these lines, and then you should be left with the perfect door you're looking for. Or if you are a bit, if you want the perfect door, just delete this and practice again. So your center will start from the tip of this point here this time. So radius circle, starting with the point on the right hand side and move it all the way to the end point. Draw a line straight up to the top, and then select all of these so you can trim again, trim off that part, trim off the top, exit, and you should be left with the perfect door. Okay, now, so the way to use them is you can keep them and start your own library, and then use the doors and windows that you already drawn out. You can also use the pre-existing CAD blocks, which we usually give you, and usually every company should have one, where you can change your sizes and scale it up or down to fit into a specific dimension. But if you want to start your own libraries or your own drawings, this is the right way to do a door. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exactly like this. People have different styles of drawing, but this is a sort of like a standard one that you can use. Okay, now before we go into the last part of today, I also wanted to mention just one more thing. Another command which I wanted to show you guys. I know it's a lot of information, but I think you guys will be able to handle. So if I select all of these door frames and you know, on the circle on the side, so if I select everything but the door swing, now you see that if I copy this, and then if I want it to go down, and I'm going to show you guys another tool that you can use, which will be helpful. So I'm going to move this by a random location. So that's what I want. That's where I want it. Okay. So now I'm going to move this up so that's easier. Actually, maybe here it's easier. So here. All right. Now, why would you have a bigger door distance? So usually because you're changing the scale of your drawing. So once that's changed, you might find your block of things, so your windows, doors, you've drawn them in a specific scale. But if you have a bigger distance or a bigger scale that you want your door to fit, you don't have to awkwardly scale it all down because it might be confusing. What you can do is a new tool that I will teach you guys as well. So if I select that part of the door, so I'm just going to select the top part. Okay, now the new command that I'm teaching you guys is called align. So ALIGN, right? So align, enter. So it asked me for my first source point. So the first source point would be here from the bottom left corner of my door swing. And it's going to ask me for the first destination point. So where do I want this object to go? I want it to go to the tip of that point there, select on it. Now it's going to ask me for the second source point, which is from here, right? The end point of my little circle. And where do I want the second destination point to be? I want it to be here. And it's going to ask you, do you have a third source point or do you want to continue? So if it's most likely you would only need 2 source points. So in this sense, I don't need a third point. So I'm going to say let's continue. So enter. Do you want the scale object based on the aligned points? I'm going to say yes. I want to scale it based on my aligned points. And there you have it. So you will have your objects moved from here, the smaller distance, to the bigger distance with the same sort of scale up or down that you're looking for using the align command. So basically what align does is it helps you to align an object from a smaller distance to a bigger distance with the automatic scale up or down options. Okay.